it's sort of a funny sort of turn of events that sort of got me here. I was obviously had a couple of horses selected for Rio, and of one went, and the second horse that was going to be a backup horse had a virus just before we left, and he didn't make the same flight as my Rio horse, and I put another horse on the flight with him to come over, and so I ended up with 3 of my best horses here at the end of last year, and I had planned on going straight back after doing Burley, and the horses didn't quite cope with the ground, and they'd sort of probably been here a little too long and started to acclimatise to the British conditions, and when that happens they sort of go into a bit of a flat spot, and it just felt like I hadn't done as well as I would have liked, and just with my family as well. My wife hasn't ever had a season over here, and the kids start school next year, and just having the horses here and the opportunity is probably not going to arise where I'm going to have 3 good horses to be able to compete. My wife be able to come over and support me and experience England and competing over here in Europe as well. So yeah, we decided to leave them here and try and have a crack at the season here, and planning on doing a few 4-stars here this year. Badminton obviously, then Burley, Lemuelin, Burley, and hopefully Poe towards the end of the year. So we'll see how that goes. I've actually never been to Badminton. I've been to some of the other big events over in Europe to watch, but it's a bad time of year for me generally. With my business at home, this is the peak of our season, so I've never really been able to come over in the past. So I've seen it a bit on television, but you really don't get much of a feel for exactly what it is when you're seeing it on television. I've heard that it's very big, and I've also heard that if the ground gets soft, it can be pretty difficult. So that's the reason why I've decided with this little horse, he seems to cope well with the ground if it gets a little softer, and he's certainly brave. And if it does become a cross-country test, then I feel that he's certainly going to be at a bigger advantage. We actually bred him to race with the idea of being able to compete him after racing, and he's by a staying stallion, another warrior who ran the Melbourne Cup 3 or 4 times, and when we trialled him, he didn't show a lot of ability, and he was probably going to be a 4 or 5 year old before he was going to run well, and we just decided to see how we'd go eventing, and he showed really great attitude, really good jumping technique, and so we sort of shelved the racing and started him eventing. And look, he's a beautiful natured horse. He's everyone's favourite in the yard. He's friendly, he's polite, he tries his heart out. He's a great little mover. He tries really hard in the dressage. He's great cross country. He gallops well. He's very brave, and he's a pretty careful jumper. So look, I think if he does as good as he can do, I think he can certainly be competitive. I think Sam and I are actually quite similar in a lot of our training methods. We're both fairly classical in the way in which we go about it. I think Sam's probably a little more relaxed than what I am. I was talking with our dressage coach Gareth the other day, and he was saying it's probably a good thing for both of us that some of his strengths or weaknesses sort of complement me, and I certainly felt that he's done a great job with my horses since I've come over. That they're going really well. It's very difficult being on the other side of the world, about to go to one of the biggest 4-stars in the world, and you only get 2 opportunities of a couple of weeks in front of the event to ride my horses and get them fit, and well, not so much get them fit, but make sure their fitness is right, and fortunately Sam's been doing a great job. I guess short term I'm looking at World Games next year, and certainly looking forward towards Tokyo. And yeah, just trying to keep getting better, trying to get better results. Certainly, I've got to. We're always looking for new horses and to keep the team behind the horses that are at the top of our sport, going, so that we can keep pushing those good horses to make sure that they keep performing at the best. And if you can get a better one, then it only helps. And I guess, you know, certainly in the last 10 years, the standard of riding across the world, the standard of horsepower is always improving and becoming more difficult. So we need to stay, you know, on top of that and make sure that we've got the horses to continue.